Hello everyone, my name is Eva. Welcome to the practice today. Today's practice will focus a lot on strengthening and stretching the lower body, especially the calf muscles. So this practice will be quite beneficial for those who are very tight on the lower body and they want to be a bit more flexible, or for those who are focusing on rehabilitating from a recent injury, especially on the calf muscle. To open our practice today, starting reclining all the way down on your mat. So reclining on your back, spread the legs open, spread the arms open. And once you find a comfortable position, gently close the eyes. Allowing for a few moments to arrive to your practice, to arrive to your mat. Acknowledging that your yoga mat is a safe place. Starting bringing your awareness to your breath, starting sensing your breath, feeling the rising and the falling of the rib cage as you breathe in, as you breathe out. In today's practice, we will focus a lot on the lower body. I want to invite you to practice with an intention and then pay attention. Pay attention to the body signals. Pay attention to what the body is asking you. Starting sensing any body sensations you are feeling. Training yourself to acknowledge what is happening at your own body. If at any time you've been invited to go a little bit deeper, feel free to go. If you feel that some of the poses that we try are too much for you, back off. Ease yourself out of the pose. On the next inhalation, blink the eyes open. Then the right knee, grab the back of the right hamstring as you pull the right leg to your chest. Keep the knee bent and starting flexing the right toes and then pointing the toes. And again, inhale, flex, exhale, point. And we'll keep moving by flexing and pointing the toes for a few rounds, starting inviting strength on the right calf muscle. And if you want to sense how this muscle is working, maybe you're bringing one hand behind the shin, gently touching the muscle, and noticing how by moving your toes, by flexing and pointing them, the muscle is actually working. Take one more breath. And then extend the right leg out. And let's move to the second side. This time bend the left knee, grab the back of the hamstring, bend the knee. And starting flexing the toes and then pointing the toes. And again, inhale, flex, exhale, point. And let's keep moving at your own pace, at your own rhythm by flexing and pointing the toes. Inviting strength on the second side of our body, on the left calf muscle this time. Take one more breath, flex the toes, and then exhale, point the toes, straighten the leg out. From here, bend both knees, squeeze the knees high up to your chest, and grab the back of the hamstrings. Starting rocking for a moment side to side as you start inviting energy to the upper body. And from here, starting rocking back and forth. As you are coming forward, allow the toes to tap the floor in front of you. As you're coming backwards, try to bring the legs a little bit higher up. A few rounds, back and forth. And with the next inhalation, as you're moving forward, release the legs down, cross the legs in front of you, roll all the way to tabletop position. From tabletop position, shoulders on top of the wrist, extend the right leg down and release the right toes down. And starting moving the body back and forth. So we are focusing this time on stretching the right calf muscle. Acknowledging that the more backwards you're moving, the closer you're bringing that heel on the floor and the deeper you're moving to a stretch. So how far you want to stretch, how far you want to move the body backwards, and depends on how much you want to stretch this right calf muscle, how deep you want to move the stretch. Take one more breath, and then bring the right knee next to the left knee, tabletop position, switch side. Extend the left leg back, release the left toes down, and then starting rocking back and forth. Same motion as you did before on the right side. Now you're doing it on the left side. A beautiful stretch also runs on the wrist, on the shoulders, and the upper body. But the main area is the lower body, the left side, the left leg. Take one more breath, and then bring the left leg in, tabletop position. From here, extend both legs back, find a plank pose. Spread the arms, spread the fingers open, starting extending the elbows, starting protracting the shoulder blades, gaze down, core strong. With the next inhalation, starting bending the elbows, coming all the way down on your belly. Inhale, chest up, baby cobra. Exhale, release down, tuck the toes, push the floor away, moving to down facing dog. Wave the hips all the way up the sky. First down facing dog for today's practice. Feel free to bend one at a time to bring opposite heel a little bit closer to the floor. So starting walking the legs, as you pedal them and try to bring the heels a little bit closer to the floor. At the same time, you're pressing the floor away with the heels of the palms to lift the sitting bones a little bit higher, to bring the chest a little bit closer towards the thighs. With the next inhalation, coming on the tippy toes, lifting the heels high up. Exhale, release the heels down. 2 to go. Inhale, coming high up on the tippy toes. Exhale, heels down. One more time. Inhale, high up to the tippy toes. Exhale, release the heels down. From here, starting pulling both legs towards the top of the mat. Come and meet me in a forward bend to the top of the mat. Keep the legs hips distance apart. Keep a micro bend on the knees. Opposite elbow with opposite hand. Allow the upper body to yield to gravity. Darkening pose. And maybe you want to explore how it feels if you're starting swaying side to side or bouncing up and down. Release the head down, release the gaze down. Option to starting extending one knee, trying to come to full extension of the leg if it is accessible for you today. One more breath here. And then release the hands down. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back, shoulders in alignment with the hips. Exhale, refold. Keep a micro bend of the knees. Slow motion starting coming all the way up. And coiling yourself, allowing the head to come on the last. Roll the shoulders up towards the ears and then drive them down, back and away. Mountain pose. From here, starting bringing the legs together. Bring the hands in the gesture of prayer position in front of your heart space. Starting coming high up on the tippy toes as you're lifting the heels high up and you balance on the toes. And then release the heels down. 3 more times. Inhale, coming high up to the tippy toes, strengthening the calf muscles. And then release the heels down. Inhale a little bit higher this time. Squeeze the legs together. Exhale, release the hips down. Last time. Inhale, coming all the way up. Hold here. Breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, a little bit higher. Last one, release the hips down. Inhale, start with both hands up at the sky, gaze up. Exhale, forward bend all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, plant the hands down, step back to plank position. From here, starting bending the elbows, coming halfway down, find Chaturanga. And roll the chest open, up facing dog, thighs off the floor, gaze ahead. Push the floor away, lift the hips high up, down facing dog. Several breaths on the second down facing dog. Option to keep bending one at a time, pedaling the legs. Option to enjoy stillness, trying to dive the heels down to the floor. Take one more breath. And then lift the right leg high up the sky, dog splits. Feel a beautiful stretch running on both legs. Start moving forward, step the right leg between the 2 palms. And then release the back knee down, low lunge for a moment. Untuck the back toes and start waving the hips towards the back, so half splits. You're balancing on the front heel and right toes facing up the sky. You're starting feeling the stretch running on the posterior chain on the front right leg. Option to keep the hands down on the floor. Option to bring one hand behind the foot and help yourself to go a little bit further to this beautiful stretch as you're flexing the toes a little bit more and you're moving more on stretching the calf muscle. Inhale, extend the spine forward and out. Exhale, allow the muscles to soften, allow the chest to come a little bit closer towards the front thigh. One more breath. If you have the hand behind the foot, release the hand down, starting rebending the front knee, low lunge for a moment, and then tuck the back toes, elevate the back knee off the floor. Starting shifting the body weight forward, stepping the back leg a little bit forward, pyramid pose as you extend both knees this time. So all the 10 toes facing forward and you're having the hips in a square position. Inhale, chest out, halfway lift. Exhale, refold. Fold over the top, straight right leg this time. Allow the gaze to be down on the floor and maybe you're dropping the gaze towards the back of the room. You're more focusing on stretching the front leg this time. Option to stay here, option to start bringing more body weight on the front heel as you start lifting the front toes off the floor. A deeper stretch. Option to bring one hand behind the foot again as you did before from half split. And try to help yourself to go a little bit deeper the stretch as you gently help yourself to go a little bit deeper on flexing that right toes. One more breath. Release the right hand down, release the toes down. Starting walking the hands a little bit further out, we're moving to starting split, starting leaning forward, and then flow the left leg high up. For some of you, that left leg may be not very high, and that's completely fine. We're more focusing on stretching the legs rather than how far, how high you can lift that back leg. From here you have the option to bring one hand behind the right leg. Maybe you're adding the second hand as you're playing with your balance a little bit more. And if you fall over, just as I did it, bring your way back up. If you have the hands behind the leg, release the hands down and then release the left leg down, forward bend to the top of the mat. From here, keep the palms down. As you inhale, starting coming on the tippy toes, lifting the heels high up. And then release the heels down. This time, starting bringing the body awareness and the body weight to the heels, and starting lifting the toes off the floor. And then release down. That was one round. 3 more times. Inhale, coming high up to the tippy toes, lifting the heels off the floor. Exhale, release the heels down. Inhale, coming heavy on the heels, light on the toes. Exhale, release down. Inhale, moving forward, coming on the tippy toes, balance high up. Exhale, heels down. Inhale, dig the heels down, lift the toes off the floor this time. Exhale, down. One more round. Inhale, high up. Exhale, heels down. Inhale, toes up. Hold here for one extra breath. And then release the toes down, forward bend. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, refold. Inhale, settle both hands up to the sky, gaze up. Exhale, forward bend all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift, shoulders in alignment with the hips. Exhale, plant the hands down, step back to plank position. Starting bending the elbows, coming halfway down, five chaturanga. And then roll the chest open up, facing dog, gaze ahead. Push the floor away, down, facing dog, wave the hips all the way up to the sky. From here, float the left leg high up to the sky for a moment. Feel the stretch running on both legs, opening the groin area. And then step the left leg between the two palms. Release the back knee down, find low lunge for a moment, and tuck the back toes. And then half split, starting waving the hips to the back as you're starting balancing on the front heel and allow the left toes this time to face high up to the sky. Option to stay with the palms down on the floor, maybe fingertips on the floor, Maybe you bring one hand behind that front left leg and help yourself to go a little bit deeper on flexing the toes and going a little bit deeper on the stretch that runs behind this left leg. Take one more breath. If you have the hand, release the hand down, start moving forward, you bend the front knee. Tuck the back toes, elevate the back knee off the floor for a moment, and then step the back leg a little bit closer towards the top of the mat. Pyramid pose as you extend both knees at the same time. Inhale, chest out. Exhale, fold on top of that left leg this time. All the 10 toes facing forward, and you're having your hips in a square position. Option to stay here, option to start lifting the front toes off the floor as you start bringing more body weight on the front left heel. Option again to bring one hand behind the foot and support yourself. Help yourself to go a little bit deeper to the stretch. Release the hand down, release the toes down. Starting splits, walk both hands a little bit further out. And then starting leaning forward, flow the right leg off the floor. Try to lift the right leg a little bit higher, moving to a deeper stretch on the left leg. And then again, as before, option to bring one hand behind the leg, trying to close the gap between the chest and the front leg. Option to add the second hand and play with your balance. Notice how you feel by just balancing on the front left leg and keeping the torso and having the torso nice and low. If you have the hands behind the leg, release the hands down and release the right leg next to the left leg. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, refold. Inhale, circle both hands up to the sky, gaze up. Chair pose this time, bend both knees, drop the hips nice and deep. Start bending the knees a little bit more, sink the hips a little bit more. Squeeze the thighs together. From here, if you feel that you want to go a step further, maybe today, maybe after a couple of days of practicing this yoga flow, starting coming on the tippy toes, lifting the heels off the floor, and bend the knees a little bit more, so sinking the hips nice and deep. And we breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one, release the heels down, coming all the way up, standing up, release the hands by either side. From here, step the left leg back, open to the long side of the mat. And start bringing the heels to face inwards and allowing the toes to point outwards. We're moving to a goddess pose. Starting bending both knees equally, dropping the hips nice and deep. Option to keep the hands in the gesture of prayer position. Option to extend the hands out at the shoulder high. From here, starting lifting one heel up and then release the heel down. Second side, this time left side. And then release down. We either keep moving by one side, by the right to the left, or maybe you just coming on both tippy toes, lifting both heels off the floor, and then release the heels down. 3 more times. Inhale, high up. Exhale, heels down. Inhale, float. Exhale, down. Last time. Inhale, up, hold. Sink the hips a little bit deeper. Invite even more strength on the calf muscles. And then release the heels down, extend both knees, both hands up to the sky. Then all the 10 toes to face the long side of the mat. And then forward bend all the way down, bending from the hinge of the hips. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fall down. Wide leg, forward bend. Option to keep the palms down on the floor. Option to start bending the elbows, coming on the forearms down on the floor. Enjoy several breaths here. Allow the torso to drop a little bit further closer to the floor. Allow the crown of the head to be closer to your mat. Keep the torso low. Instead of pointing both hands towards the right leg this time, frame the right leg. Let's give some more of our attention on the right leg. And then slow motion, starting walking both hands all the way to the center, all the way towards the left leg this time, framing the left leg. Inhale, extend the spine forward and out. Exhale, fold over straight left leg. One more breath. And then starting walking both hands towards the center. Bring the hands on the hips, micro bend the knees, and with a neutral position on the spine, starting rolling all the way up. Turn the gaze towards the top of the mat, turn the right toes to face forward, and then step the left leg forward. Inhale, both hands up to the sky. Exhale, revisiting chair pose, bend both knees nice and equally. Drop the hips down. From here, starting bending the knees a little bit more, fight the toe squat for a moment. And then softly release the sitting bones down, both paws, flow the legs off the floor. Engaging the core, engaging the legs, engaging even the muscles of the spine to keep the upper body lifted. Take one more breath. And then slow motion, starting releasing all the way down. Fight the low boat pose for a moment. And then release completely down. From here, bend the right knee, bring the right knee to your chest as we did it at the beginning of the class. And then bring the right hand inside, grab the big toes with the first two piece fingers and the thumb. And then starting extending the leg high up. Maybe you come with just a micro extension of the knee. Maybe you're starting completely extending the right leg high up, making sure that the right shoulder blade is down on the floor. As you start feeling the stretch running on the entire length of the right leg. Slow motion, starting rebending the knee, and then spread the leg open, moving to the second side, bend the left knee this time, left hand inside of the leg, grabbing the big toes with the first two piece fingers and the thumb, and then starting opening the leg up. Again, maybe you just come halfway with the micro bend of the knee, maybe you're starting extending the leg completely straight up, making sure that this time the shoulder blade, the left shoulder blade remains down to the floor, so you're not lifting high up. You're rooting the shoulder blade down to the floor, and you find a beautiful stretch on the posterior chain of the left leg. Take one more breath. Maybe you straighten that left knee a little bit more to deepen the stretch. And then release the leg out, spread the legs open, spread the arms open. Find Savasana. Find again in a comfortable position as we start our practice today. Allow for a few moments to reset and recover. Over our practice, we applied positive stress on our bodies, on our muscles and our ligaments and fascia. And now it's time to completely relax, allowing our body to reset, to rebound, and to recover. Acknowledging that it's until this resting time that our bodies grow stronger and healthier. Allow your body to become heavy. Allow the muscles to soften. As you start shifting your awareness back to your breath, back to your heart, sensing your heart beating inside of the rib cage, sensing the gentle rising and falling of the belly as you breathe in and as you breathe out. With the next inhalation, starting bringing your awareness back to the space around you. And with the eyes still closed, bring the left hand on top of your heart and the right hand on top of your belly. As a gesture of strong love and respect for this beautiful body you have. Respect for your needs, respect for yourself. With the eyes closed, start bending both knees, squeeze the knees to your chest. Give yourself a huge hug of love, a hug of gratitude. And then starting rocking side to side for a moment. Open the left hand up and over your left ear. And then starting bringing both knees towards the left side. Allow the right palm to rest down on the floor. Allow the left cheek to rest on top of the left bicep. With the eyes still closed, push the floor away with the right palm and starting rolling all the way up in a nice cross-legged seated position. Plant the hands on top of the knees. Maybe you choose to keep the palms facing up to the sky as a gesture of being open for what the life has to offer to you. Circle both hands up to the sky, grab and interlace the fingers, roll the palms to face up to the sky, and then give yourself a huge long stretch, lengthening the spine up. Release the hands, bring the hands in front of your heart space, and slightly bow the forehead down. To honor your practice, to honor your body. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste. If you're new on my YouTube channel, you can even hit the subscribe button and be notified for any yoga practices, any yoga classes. Thank you again for being here. Namaste.